Friends, today we will learn how to scientifically and practically develop any new habit or quit any old bad habit with the help of one of the best books on habit building, Atomic Habits by James Clear. We will understand how small steps and efforts create big results. Why do we often quit our habits halfway and how to stick to them? How can we build or quit any habit and how can we shift our identity to change our behavior and habits? In this video, we will try to summarize this book in easy and simple language. The first lesson is not to wait for rock bottom. Look at any great person's life journey. They experience a significant failure or hit rock bottom, after which they say, "No more." They realize they can't blame anyone else and must change themselves. Rock bottom is the point where a person changes their belief system, takes action, and then reaches new heights. Like David Goggins, who one night quit his job killing pests and said, "I've always chosen the easy option, that's why I'm here. But from now on, I will not run away from the difficulties of life." Or when Dwayne Johnson had only $60 left in his pocket after being kicked out of the American Football Club, he decided, "I have nothing to lose now. No one can stop me from giving my all." Like one day when Virat Kohli decided to change his fitness. One of the most important things James Clear says in Atomic Habits is, it's so easy to overestimate the importance of one defining moment and underestimate the value of making small improvements on a daily basis. James Clear says don't wait for rock bottom to shift your identity. Small, daily atomic habits have more power to shift identity and change life. The next point is identity. What is an identity shift? It's not about wanting to read books, it's about wanting to become a reader, someone who enjoys taking the time to read and apply that knowledge in life. This is called an identity shift. The next point is that identity shift matters more than goals because your unconscious, small habits are born from your belief system. These small, unconscious habits shape your identity and determine the direction of your career. A small change in these habits can make a significant difference in the long term. Like a flight from New York, if it deviates by only 2.5 degrees, it will end up in Beijing instead of Tokyo. This means identity matters more than goals. The next point is why old habits become dominant. Sometimes we want to change, we create new habits and routines and stay excited for 5 days, but we don't feel confident from within. As soon as there's a break in the routine, we revert to old behaviors because the old identity is internally resisting. Your identity is formed from your past, and the past is the comfort zone that doesn't want to change. So how will change happen? Through very small habits that gradually shift identity. The next point is why small habits are so effective. Like how a copper sheet takes the shape of a pot through small hammer blows, new small habits make a significant impact without causing severe pain. This means small habits don't bother your old personality much, and repeated actions shift your belief system and identity. Soon, you'll see results you couldn't even imagine. The next point is the 2 steps to start a new habit. First, decide what kind of person you want to become. Tell yourself a story from the future. Imagine you are the person who has achieved the goal. What will your identity be like? How will you feel? And what good habits will you have unknowingly? The second step is to prove yourself with small things. Choose 2 or 3 simple habits that support your goal and new identity, start them in a very small form, and repeat them. The next point is how habits are formed, the habit loop. To understand James Clear's advice, we need to understand the 4 stages of the habit loop. First, the cue or trigger, something that reminds you of the feeling of the old reward and triggers craving. Craving is the internal feeling or trigger that compels you to repeat the habit. The response or routine must include at least 3 steps. The reward, the satisfaction you feel after completing the habit, is essential, otherwise, the craving won't arise. The brain remembers the reward, and this cycle keeps running. The next point is to make the cue and trigger very obvious. After a few repetitions, the brain automatically recognizes the cue. You don't consciously think about it, but the brain gets triggered to repeat the habit, and before you know it, the habit is repeated. That's why the cues for what you want to do should be very obvious and in front of your eyes. For example, if you want to read 4 pages of a book before sleeping, the book should be on your pillow so your brain gets triggered to read before sleeping. The next point is to always link a new habit to an old one. People think they need motivation for habits. James Clear says you need clarity. Clarity is knowing that no habit thrives alone. Always link a new habit to an old one. Make the reward of the old habit the trigger for the new habit. Don't think, I'll write my daily goals every morning. Always think, I'll sit at the table after taking a bath, or I'll write and visualize my daily goals for 5 minutes after my old good habit, then light incense, linking old good habits with new ones. The next point is that the environment is an invisible trigger. Triggers start your habits, and the environment is a trigger that's always in front of your eyes. You don't need to be an interior designer, but small, thoughtful changes in your environment, whether your room, office, or study room, can significantly impact. Small changes in your environment that promote good habits and make bad habits difficult and invisible make a long-term difference. So keep your environment clean, organized, and well-designed. The next point is to make habits attractive. You repeat the habits that make you feel good. The feeling behind craving is hidden, so change your language. Instead of saying, I have to exercise today, say, I get to exercise today. The next point is the 2-minute rule. First, make the habit automatic by repeating it daily. Then refine it. The first step of the habit should be completed within 2 minutes. For example, if you want to develop an exercise habit, your 2-minute rule could be to go to the designated room and do 10 squats within 2 minutes. The next point is to lock in future actions with a commitment device. You can lock in actions right now so you don't repeat bad habits in the future and have to fulfill good actions. You can lock your phone and TV remote in a cupboard and give the key to a stubborn person who won't return it for 4 hours. The next point is to reward good habits immediately. When you feel good after completing an action, the chances of repeating the action increase. Make the end of any good habit somewhat satisfying, otherwise, it won't repeat. For example, listen to your favorite song for 2 minutes after exercising. The next point is to make progress visual. James Clear says that the feeling of progress is one of the most satisfying feelings in the world. So make your progress visual, like that's don't break the change strategy, which says to repeat the habit daily and mark an X on the calendar. Then don't let the chain break. If you miss a routine, make up for it immediately. Don't let a 1-day break turn into 2 days of regret. Finally, small habits don't just add up, they compound as identity shifts. To summarize, first, choose your goal, then think about the identity of the person who will achieve that goal. How will they feel every day? What habits will they unknowingly repeat?